I'm going to show you kind of what I've got so far for my Shazam costume. If you have time, definitely get one from China because a lot of those are actually a little nicer looking than like the Rubies costume that I have. The material isn't quite super red. It doesn't look bad, but it's not as red as vibrant as I'd like it. And the material is so thin, it lends itself to like battle damage. It's easier to make like the battle damage on it to make it look like it's weathered and beat. I'd rather have that really vibrant red with more detail. This isn't official Rubies, but you know, again, like I said, it's not fully realized like the movies. I did make the emblem here out of a couple millimeter foam. I think it's actually the 1mm craft foam. I double lined it along with this yellow here. Created this just with the X-Acto knife, and then sprayed it. That look that you want without getting in depth. If you have more time, I would actually have cut this out, this edge, because in the picture, this edge is cut out and you can see a little bit of the red underneath. So what I would have done is probably cut that out and then placed it onto the actual costume with the red showing through. So it's exactly the same material as the costume. But again, I don't have a lot of time. I had about 2 weeks, and really I only have about 5-6 hours a week to work on this whole thing. And I really didn't like the puffiness of the cotton that was in the muscles. There's a lot of trial and error of where to put the muscles. So if you look, I actually cut out pockets of where the foam went. I hated it. I just couldn't stand it. And it's not placed perfect that I'd like. I created my own spots for it, for the abs and everything like that. So it doesn't always line up with the seams. If you get a different costume, it's probably going to be, if it's a non-Rubies, you won't have all those seams to contend with. And again, you don't have to make them perfectly polished. As long as the shape is pretty close and it has some roundness to the edges, you're going to get the look that you want. I'm pretty happy with the way this part of the arm turned out, the shoulder and the bicep muscle. I'm working on the tricep muscle now. So this is kind of what I have for the tricep muscle. It's going to lend itself to the edge of the deltoid and the back part of the arm, and it'll give it that kind of nice look like a muscle, you know, underneath. It'll give it some depth and some size. This is looking closer to a Superman build. And when you create the tricep muscle, it doesn't have to be the perfect kind of ham sized with a long and then a wide shorter muscle on the other side. As long as it gives that arm some size and a little bit of that shape on the outer edge, I think you'll be fine with that. I also created a cup just to kind of put up front, because it also protects your junk. One way to get the roundness of everything is take your heat gun, heat up your foam for a few seconds. Show you a little bit here. I don't want this too round, but again, it's going to be the tricep muscle. And I just take like a bowl, I'm pushing in, especially where I want the bulk or the roundness of the tricep to go. And I'm going to hold it in there for probably 30 seconds. Let it cool off. It'll kind of retain some of that shape, that roundness to it. I may create the quadricep, the front thigh muscles. I do have the bracers, and I also created the belt. All right, so as you can see, I have the armor on. Here's the chest piece here. It fits right on my chest itself. The abs, the belt, created the belt, and here's like the cup or the groin guard. Here's without any of the muscles. It's not tight on my arm, so it doesn't have that heroic look. Here's this side, the tricep and the bicep and the deltoid. There's that more heroic look. The bracers are going to go there. The way I made the belt itself is I have a Velcro piece glued on with hot glue, and then I extended one just past it so that it can just kind of snap together like that. It's just yellow craft foam. I cut all these pieces out just out of the actual foam. You can see the thickness of the foam. But that's all I did, you know, something really quick and simple that actually makes the cosplay pop a little bit more and just makes it a little easier to put on right above the last ab there. So it gives it a little bit of kind of continuity between the abs and the cup. Again, here we go. So getting close to being done with this. I don't have boots that I can spray paint. I haven't found any at any of the Goodwills or thrift shops. May have to create foam paneling to place over my boots. I don't have a lot of time left. I have a week left before I have to wear this cosplay to an event. I still have to take in the back. The back is very loose. Not that you can tell because that top one I have it cinched up to where it, you know, covers my neck. But if you look at the back, there's this. I'm going to put 2 pieces of elastic here because the cape is going to cover it up. I can pull it apart to get in the costume, and then it'll just kind of snap and pull this tight in 2 different spots. Not that it matters. It's not like it needs to be skin tight here. A little less of these wrinkles here. I'm going to have that because this material is pretty crummy. It's a really thin material, and it doesn't look as good as probably one of the better ones you can buy for under 50 bucks. Here's kind of the final cosplay. I didn't have a lot of time to make it, so it's not perfect, but it's only for 2 showings and about 3 hours of costume time fully. The boots, I think I'd rather have spent a little bit more time on, but a little bit clunky looking. Something I just threw up quickly. There's some straps on the back with Velcro that hold it together. This is what the Shazam cosplay looks like. I don't like what I did here. Elastic band with Velcro, but it's not holding real well. I'm gonna have to probably remake this portion just right here. The other side's not the greatest either. So I think that's probably the biggest problem with this cosplay is just this part of the band by the wrist. All in all, I think it looks pretty decent. You can see some muscles going on that flex with you a little bit. I think it turned out okay for a Rubies costume that was very fluffy. Now I think it looks more heroic. It's got some decent movement and it's not too bad to stand around in. All in all, not too shabby looking. Shazam! Alright guys, have a good one. This is Adamantium Cosplay signing off.